I'm Umer Abbas, CEO of Narsun Studios, Pakistan's largest Unreal Engine gaming studio based in Pakistan and also in Dubai. So I do have amazing panels where we're going to talk about the magic of Metaverse, building the worlds of future. So I would like every one of you to take like 1 or 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Oscar, starting from you.
Thank you. I'm Oscar Wendel. I work with Dubai World Trade Center and put on the show the Future Blockchain Summit that's happening in October. This is the 6th year. And this year, we're going to go very big on gaming, Web3 gaming in particular.
Hi, I'm Vincent. I run Nifty Craft, a blockchain gaming company with a vision of cross-game item interoperability. To do that, we have a solution called Craftware to import and export items between games. And we build our own game using Craftware. It's a 2D sandbox MMO.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mohammad Belal. I'm the CEO of the DIFC Innovation Hub, which is a subsidiary of Dubai International Financial Center, responsible for everything that it does around fintech, future of finance, the future of economies. We are a physical jurisdiction that is home to about 700 plus innovation companies. We also run the recently announced Dubai AI and Web3 campus that we aim to build in the next few years, but starting hopefully soon. And yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Alex.
Hi, do you hear me? Okay. I'm Alexander Jorias. I'm CEO and co-founder of Club Cooee. Club Cooee is a mobile-first 3D social metaverse. And we help people finding like-minded people and friends online in a very playful way. So when you come to Club Cooee, you get an avatar. You dress up your avatar, and then you go to virtual parties to meet new people. And that works very well. We have 40,000 creators, and they create all the outfits you will see on Club Cooee. Actually, 1,200 outfits a day are created as we are talking here. And we have a lot of users in Brazil, Turkey, France, US. And now we're looking into the MENA region because we think our product would work very well here. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Belal Jassoma. I head business development at DMCC. DMCC is a leading international business district with more than 23,000 companies. But I have a particular focus on our tech ecosystems. We have the DMCC Gaming Center and Crypto Center. And the Metaverse sits at the intersection of both. So I'm very excited to be part of this panel.
Thank you, everyone. So as our topic is building the digital world, so Alex, starting from you, how can we ensure that all those digital worlds are engaging and immersive for all those users?
That's a good question. Before we did Club Cooee, we created games. So we know about games, we know about how to motivate users to play a game, have fun, stay, retain. If we are talking about metaverse experiences, or in our case, a social metaverse, you have to be clear that you still have to serve a need of the user. So in our case, it's not like playing a game and be successful and be competitive. It's more about the social aspect of a metaverse play, so to say. So it's very hard for a social metaverse like Club Cooee to retain users and to attract users. So you need to take your time to find out about what type of experience you have to present to the user. And in our case, it's very clear. We help you finding friends. And all we do is focused on this. So we bring in stuff like a match party, a dance party, a fashion party, or be a creator, create outfits for your audience. And this is a very focused experience. And it's not like that you can do a racing game in Club Cooee, stuff like that. It's very focused on parties and vibrant and crazy avatars and show your identity, connect to other people, and express yourself, be a creator. But everything is centered around the target or the aim to meet new people and connect and mingle. And this is it's a very focused metaverse experience. And I think it's very important to be clear when you start doing a metaverse product. Why should people come to you? Why do you retain them? And how do you do that? And for us, it's like a meaningful experience, build friendships.
Yeah, but Oscar, considering these digital worlds, there are still some challenges which we always face, and there are some of the innovations which still needed in the metaverse. So what do you think about it?
I just wanted to comment on what you're saying. It's impressive what you've achieved. You told me 75,000 users per day in
That's right,
in
yeah.
your metaverse. That's one of the biggest. And I'm reflecting on what you're saying here. You're recreating social environments, clubs, concerts, meeting new people. But when we were speaking the other day, I was reflecting on what has made other social communities very successful, like Facebook, unlike Friendster and MySpace. Friendster and MySpace had the same concept of meeting strangers from around the world, whereas Facebook, the typical user will have maybe 500 friends, and these will be people that they know in the real world, or people that know other people in their circle, right? So I think a big question is, like, what does the metaverse serve? It is about enhancing the social interaction that you have with existing people, in the same way that chatting, like, I think the big opportunity with metaverse is that you can socialize with people in ways that are outside the social norms that you have face to face. Like if you're communicating with a girl you just met or with a colleague late at night on WhatsApp, it's very different from how you're communicating face to face. And the metaverse, I think, is just such an opportunity to experiment and step out of boundaries. I just wanted to hear, before we move on, what you think about that as you are building metaverses.
Yes, when we look at our users, I mean, not everybody is like extrovert. Many people are introvert. Many people have to overcome certain obstacles when they approach other people. So in Club Cooee, it's very easy to connect to people from all around the world or from around you in your city. It depends what you are looking for. And the avatar is a great means of self-expression, and you can show your true identity in Club Cooee, and it's an option to reveal about yourself. And when we started Club Cooee 10 years ago, we called it a 3D social network. So the idea was bringing our gaming background and combine it with a social network, and that works very well for us now. But it took some time to find out what it needs. And all those rooms and parties, let's be clear, they are an alibi to meet new people. So if you go to a party and you listen to music, you can say, okay, do you like the music? Yes, I like your t-shirt. Are you a fan of a certain band? Whatever. Everything is like visualized through your avatar. And if you look at avatars, you will instantly say, I find this avatar attractive, yes or no. And if the avatar is attractive and you're attracted to the avatar, probably want to know more about the person behind the avatar.
But still, from your side, like there's still some of the trends and recent things which needs to be come up into the metaverse, because we saw there's lacking of user experiences, and you've been into this gaming since like more than a decade. But what do you think, what are the most recent trends we have to bring it up into the metaverse now?
So to set the stage a little bit, I think the metaverse is already here, but the vision of the metaverse is far from achieved. When you look at the metaverse as being like the new iteration of the internet, and that's going to take a while to get built, there's a few components, technologies, elements, protocols, standards, technology that all have to come together. And they all have to serve, the 3D immersive experiences. Some other elements are synchronicity, real-time communications, interoperability, whether you do it via blockchain or without the blockchain. So today, you have Club Cooee, you have Fortnite, you have Minecraft, all these experiences that, to a certain degree, satisfy, whatever we define as components of what we define as the metaverse, but lack everything else. And I think the biggest point that lacks is interoperability. So today I cannot take my Cooee dress and move into Fortnite with that dress and wave it around to say that I'm one of the OGs of Club Cooee, for example. Which shows how rudimentary the state of affairs is in the metaverse, because essentially I cannot move with my Nike shoes into an Adidas store. Now, I don't know if in real life the Adidas store will let me in, but physically I can do it. So I think all these great experiences, you mentioned bad user experiences. I don't think they're bad, they're amazing. Look at Club Cooee, look at Minecraft. They just don't interoperate. They're siloed away from each other. There's another technical aspect that kind of defines the metaverse, and it's also very lagging, is the real-time synchronicity of interaction and communication. Today, it's built on the legacy infrastructure of the internet, TCP/IP protocols and whatnot, and maybe it's not ideal for what we expect out of the metaverse. So some smart people are working on this, but my mission is on the interoperability side, so I cannot comment on the network side.
Right. But Mohammad, from your side, Dubai has always been accepting the new technologies. And so that brings up my next question. What Dubai government is doing for the businesses which are coming up into the metaverses, and what are the new policies which Dubai government is working on?
So I think Dubai, again, is quite progressive and ambitious towards anything new that comes in the market. And Metaverse, of course, was quite obvious. And I think last year, His Highness announced the Metaverse Committee, High Committee, which basically has the mandate to position Dubai as a hub for the Metaverse economy or for Metaverse players. And hence, there are specific government institutions that are working in their capacity to activate that mandate. Now, there's a lot of work on the policy side, which includes the DIFC as well. So some of the things that we're looking at from a policy development perspective is how does digital identity look like within the metaverse? How does data protection look like? Now, we have an issue with data protection in the current scenario. How do we kind of come up with a legal framework or rules and regulations for it to be controlled within the metaverse? And then also, I think we need to build the right ecosystem around metaverse as well. So that's where different government bodies are doing a lot of work. We as the IFC actually announced a metaverse accelerator. And the aim of that is twofold. One is to push that government mandate, but also responding to the market. Because we have a lot of our clients, a lot of our financial institutions, a lot of government bodies that actually reached out to us, and they want to see what the metaverse could mean for them. Now, metaverse could sound very sexy, but everyone, there was a lot of hype around it. But what is the exact use case for a bank? What is the exact use case for a DIFC? Now, you could create a digital twin of the DIFC or whatever. You could create something for an institution, but how do you actually commercialize it? Everyone asks me, how do you commercialize the metaverse? You can invest millions of dollars in it, but how do you commercialize it? Hence, I mean, these requests, when they came to us, we conceptualized the program where we said, okay, we'll create a program where we bring in startups and companies, experts in the metaverse space that could actually work and help you guys visualize what that use case could be and how it can be commercialized. For example, I have a bank that is very keen on creating a branch in the metaverse, but not just a prototype. They actually want to do commercial transactions. So what is the viability of something like that today? And then we have logistic companies that actually want to see how could the metaverse enable their facilities. We do have a couple of companies in the luxury and the retail space. Again, how do they take, I mean, yeah, we know those are the use cases, but how do they actually develop it? And more importantly, how is it commercial? Because it has to be commercial at the end of the day. So I think that's something that we're trying to help. And also, I think we're in this phase of learning and evolving. I think there's a lot of education required. We ourselves are also learning in terms of what kind of use cases are there, what kind of policies are there. It's an evolving space, I think.
Right. And Belal, what do you think about the AI and the regulations which are related to the metaverses? So what are your comments that what the regulatories has to do for the Metaverse stuff?
Thank you. So, I mean, the AI is obviously a developing story, and there's going to be regulations needed for that. But I'm actually more interested to also add to the previous points about the Metaverse itself, because, you know, in DMCC, in the Crypto Center, we have more than maybe 40, 50 Metaverse companies. The majority of them are developing games or have developed games. But we're actually seeing other use cases, and I think back to the similar point that we're hearing here is finding the right use case is key. And we're seeing a lot of education technology looking at Metaverse as a channel. And one of the companies we have is called MetaVisionaries. They're using Metaverse as a tool to promote space education and simulating space education, for example. Education, I think, is a good use case. I mean, it's kind of like taking baby steps. We don't have to go to a complete commercialization a model, but rather look at what can the Metaverse do to simulate and to create that experience that can maybe help take, you know, the current experience to the next level. We at DMCC ourselves, we're also looking at the Metaverse as a use case for business matching. I mean, we have a very diverse business sector, business hub, with companies from different business sectors wanting to connect with one another. And Metaverse is basically a place where they can actually do that permanently instead of just doing events all the time, for example. This can be a permanent place where people from different sectors can meet and can match and connect and maybe even transact. I mean, eventually, as a first phase, it could be just meeting, but as a second phase, transacting is definitely an opportunity there.
A question to any of you. This question was circling around in my mind when Tim Cook came and launched Apple Vision Pro. I know they didn't share and mention Metaverse world in Apple Vision Pro. And we normally relate, which I contradict, I don't agree that VR is equals to Metaverse. But still, it has some of the use cases with the Metaverse. So what do you guys think that, what's the Apple Vision behind the Apple Vision Pro, which just came out? Any of you can pick it up.
Well, you're right, they didn't mention Metaverse, and I think that's for good reason. Because if you look at Apple, it's a company that when they present a product, they give you a clear message. Why would you need it? What can you do with it? And if you look at the use cases they demonstrated with Vision Pro, they make sense. It still has to be seen if users adapt it, but it makes sense to watch a movie on a Vision Pro. If Vision Pro is light enough, you have a huge cinema 3D experience. Makes sense from a consumer's point of view. Makes sense. You can sell it to consumers, and all the other use cases like 3D photos. You can consume 3D photos. Makes sense. You can have like a conference call in 3D. People lining up in front of you in 3D. Makes sense. Initially, probably the product is too heavy, but this will be solved in version 2, 3, whatever. So, but they didn't mention Metaverse because Metaverse is very diffuse. What is the Metaverse? What exactly do I do there? Why should I be there? For example, Metaverses tend to be empty. And it's nothing worse than an empty Metaverse. If you go to a Metaverse and you can run around, walk around in an empty mall, that's not fun. And you don't even buy the Gucci bag because you cannot show it off to your friends. And so the Metaverse itself, or what we think Metaverse experiences could be, it's too diffuse for the consumer. And Apple is a consumer company, and this is why they didn't mention it from my point of view.
Yes.
I think an important question is, what is the Metaverse then, and does it require goggles? I think the ideal Metaverse is where you can interact with people virtually, for instance, with screens in a room like the Star Trek holodeck, where you can recreate any environment and you can't tell the difference between who is there physically and who is there virtually. The recent development with Google Starline, for instance, and it's more towards a vision of a real metaverse in that sense. And to me, a metaverse is not just living in a virtual world. That is the interaction with people and having digital assets that are traded, and is a parallel world to your real world, not a replacement of or an alternative world.
Vin, what's your comment?
Regarding consumers, I don't think Apple intends to make it available in end consumers' hands early on. Look at the price points and look at the use cases. So it kind of like reminded me of the Mac early days. They were made for like just designers. I didn't try the Vision Pro yet, though I want to. So I don't know if it's heavy, not heavy, and whatnot. But absolutely, the use cases are very niche and make sense. But from where we are now till when it becomes a more widely available device, I think it's still a while, and Apple realizes that.
Okay. And what do you guys think and see the metaverse to revolutionize the gaming industry? And what's the linkage of gaming with the metaverse? Because we see, like you mentioned, the metaverse was there since long ago. But what do you think that what's the currently, because right now, the experiences of all those metaverses are crappy to me. So, and what the things are lacking inside, and what do you see the potential of gaming within the metaverse?
As I mentioned earlier, existing games are the very early version 1 of the metaverse. So even the metaverse skeptics say that. For example, Gabe Newell, the CEO of Valve, the Steam platform, who's very anti-concept of open metaverse for evident reasons. He says, why would I want to use a concept that's already existing since Final Fantasy ever existed? So what he's saying really is that look at Final Fantasy, it is a metaverse. And I buy into that thesis that the existing immersive games are the first version of the metaverse. Yep. They use technologies that the metaverse will want to use. They lack a few things that the metaverse vision wants them to go towards, and some, like Epic, are already pushing that way with their store, with their technologies, how they made the engine, like a version of the engine open for Fortnite Creative. So, short answer is games are the tip of the spear of the metaverse, even right now.
Right. So, Mohammad, the next question, how can we attract the local talent and create businesses that keep up the technology advances of the metaverse?
So talent development, again, becomes essential when we look at advanced technologies or future technologies, be it metaverse or be it AI. I think there's a global shortage in talent. And when you come to the region, again, I think we must accept that we don't produce talent. We're always, we kind of depend on importing talent. And that's where I think, and the government realizes that. And hence, it always bets on its ability to attract talent, making it as easy, as seamless as possible to attract the top talent in the world. By giving them the best lifestyle, the best living standards. And also, I think things like the golden visa, I think the overall visa process, the freelance visa and whatever. I think these things have made it very easy for us to import talent, but not ignoring the fact we do have to focus on upskilling the existing workforce. Each and every institution, I think even ourselves, I mean, we need to know how to use this technology, I mean, metaverse or AI, or if not use, at least understand how it works, I mean, while looking at a screen. I think so there's a big upskilling requirement across sectors. I think the government is doing a lot of work, making sure that there are specific task forces in each government institution that actually knows how Web3, how AI, and how Metaverse, how these technologies work, and how could they be implemented in the government infrastructure. But likewise, we also have a responsibility that we make sure the private sector is also has this capability and knows what this could mean for them and how this could impact their businesses and how they should prepare for it from a human resources perspective.
Right. So when you mentioned about the interoperability before, but question to you, Alex, how important is interoperability between the different platforms and the digital worlds within the metaverse?
Well, right now it's not important because all those big metaverse type of products like Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, they are not interoperable. Club Cooee, you cannot export your items, you cannot bring items into the social world, but I think we are moving towards standardization and finding our ways to make things interoperable. But let's be clear, all those worlds that are still there, and when they are successful, obviously users don't need it yet. So you have to do it correctly and meaningful. So we did not use blockchain in the past, but we are working on technology to use it in the future. We call it item bridge. So we want to give our creators the possibility and ability to export items into other worlds and import items into their world. You can show off like an NFT you own, for example. In Club Cooee, it makes sense because you have your friends, you have your rooms and spaces. It makes sense to show your Bored Ape. And, but it's like baby steps. And if you talk to very successful big games, the game designers probably are say, okay, in my product, in my game, everything has a meaning, and we cannot just bring in any type of content. It would look like a trash yard, you know? So you have to find a way to make it meaningful.
Oscar, I love your critical thinking, by the way. So I would love what you have comments about it, about the interoperability
well,
only.
just some reflections on that. I think there's very little commercial incentive for the studios to have interoperability. That is one thing. But when you look at these digital assets, they're only valuable to show off to a community that actually relates to that digital asset. I'm guessing that if you're a Fortnite player and you've got some digital asset that is desirable and impressive, it doesn't translate to another community necessarily where they don't know what's being alluded to. I mean, that goes for every brand name in the world, right? I mean, if you never heard of it, there's no premium to be charged. So I know, like in the world of gaming and metaverse and trading, it is assumed that there's going to be a big market for interoperability, but I think fundamentally the first principles should be questioned.
Right. So Belal, you mentioned about the use case of the education, but what do you think about the use cases of metaverse or the digital twin within the state of real estate and the tourism industry?
I think it's big. I mean, a lot of people are looking at it, a lot of people are doing it, we're also looking at it as well, and I think it's just the perfect tool to promote real estate and make it just easier for people to experience what they're about to invest in or about to buy in. That's just one of the many benefits, I think, as well. And I'd like to also build on the topic of talent. I mean, yes, absolutely, talent upscaling is important, but not just for new talent and individuals, but also for startups. I mean, we have a lot of companies coming in wanting to build projects in the metaverse. And something that we do, for example, at the Crypto Center is we have strong ecosystem partners that can provide such support to those people. For example, some of the blockchain protocols that we have that offer grants for companies to build on their protocol. We have Bybit, who is our listing partner that's encouraging metaverse games to list their tokens on their exchange, for example. So that support environment for new metaverse companies to come in and be able to innovate and collaborate is also necessary.
Just to probably build on the real estate aspect, I think, and I've been speaking to some of the largest developers on this, everyone's of course exploring creating a digital twin, just to give consumers the experience of off-plan projects or whatever, even existing projects, but just to kind of get an experience of what it could look like. But I think this, there was a huge, I think, fuzz about people actually buying and owning real estate in the metaverse world. I'm a bit cynical about that. I don't know how valuable that is and how tangible that is, and if there's a real market for it.
So guys, we just have to end up. I do have a lot of big list more questions to ask, but we have to end up in like 2-3 minutes. So I would give every one of you for a few seconds to give any suggestions you want to our audience.
It's early. We, of course, have a healthy dose of skepticism. I wouldn't say, just be dogmatic about believing in it or be against it. I think, even the most immersed in it still wonder how much they know about where they're going and what needs to be done. So I feel there's a lot of polarization between skeptics and maximalists, and things should be really realistic at the end of the day.
Oscar?
Well, I think, we are here at the Dubai Esports Festival, and what's the connection to Metaverse, right? I think esports and gaming is about entertainment, and Metaverse is a lot about commerce. I like a quote from our friend Paul at Game Changers. He says, there's no such thing as play to earn, there's play to have fun. And what I find fascinating with the Metaverse is that there's so much money being poured into this, but the games are getting worse. What is that about? At the end of the day, we need to look at what is the demand out there and what's the function that's being served. And should you necessarily connect esports and gaming with essentially gambling? And if so, I think that should be addressed.
So, yeah.
Sure. So the Metaverse is the future. You just need to have more patience and embrace it. There's a lot of nice projects coming out from our crypto center and gaming center, and if you have any projects that you want us to support with, we're here.
Alex?
Well, yes, I think we are constantly defining and redefining what the Metaverse is. And definitely, okay, if you look it up, it's like a network of interconnected worlds, and you have interoperability, and you have like ownership and transaction between users. These are all things we have in games since many, many years. And of course, yeah, I think it's about meaningful experiences and meaningful use cases. And it's not enough to think about metaverses or metaverse products just technology and people will come if technology is good or if it looks good. No, you need to find the niche for your specific metaverse product. And this is important. It takes time, and a lot will fail. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
But those that will survive and found their niche will be successful. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the Metaverse is going to be amazing. I think it would touch many aspects of our lives. But I think where we are today, we need to be mindful of what will actually make a difference as opposed to things that are just hype.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me and coming up on a panel.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.